Well, hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Raise your hand, say something.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Oh, what a busy
Hey,
day.
how's it going?
Hello. Well, we're about 2 minutes into it. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I am Julia Spain, president of the Arlington branch NAACP. We're almost there, folks. This is our November 2020 meeting, federal membership meeting. All right. Vice President Carter, are you with us already? All right. So you may have saw something this month on our agenda about vote to suspend. Per NAAC bylaws, there is a set way, a structured way you should have order of business. And our order of business is somewhat different. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna put up a poll. We just, as a majority of the members, we've tweaked our order of business a little bit tonight. So many of you have seen it already. We just need to vote on it. So I'm going to launch this poll. Give it about 30 seconds. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. Share the results. All right, majority of members have voted to suspend the regular order of business in accordance with NAACP bylaws. Thank you very much. All right, with that being said, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. We have a very robust meeting for you tonight if you looked at the agenda, and we will get through all 16 items, trust me. But I'm going to take this opportunity. Is our Assistant Secretary, Rosa, are you with us? If you are, unmute yourself. Rosa Dunkley. Bill White. Okay. With that being said, what we're going to do is there's a lot going on in the world today. We're going to take a few moments, everyone, and just have a moment of silence. So during these next 30 seconds, if you know of someone, you know of a family that is going through some hard times, let's just, take a few moments, keep them in our prayer and our thoughts, and just uplift them during this time of the year. It should be a jolly season, right? But we just have so much going on. So with that, we're going to just take a few moments of silence, please. Okay, thank you. Everyone out there, you can still hear me. If you can, just give me a thumbs up. We're good? Thanks, Cherie. Thank you. All right, we do have a few members of elected officials on the line with us. So I'm gonna start off real quick by recognizing them because some of them come every month, like it's religiously and participate with their branch at NAACP. I see State Senator Barbara Favola. Thank you, ma'am, for coming. Our delegate, Patrick Hope. Thank you, sir, for coming. As I look through here, who else? Am I missing anyone? If I'm missing anyone, please put in the chat. I'm looking through right now. All right. If I did miss someone, I will circle back, but I see two faces right now that are live, Barbara and Pat, and thank you both. We've been very busy at the Arlington branch NAACP, as you can imagine, as you witness. We've had a lot of civic engagement with housing issues, criminal justice issues, environmental climate justice, the full gamut. And our work is not done. This would not be possible, all of what we do, without the volunteers and with our branch. We have joined the Arlington Chamber, where I now sit on the Government Affairs and Economic Development Committee. I mean, for what that's worth, I've attended one meeting, but that was very fruitful to get some idea of what some of the initiatives are that the chamber is going to put forth for the next session. So I very much enjoyed that. We've had some engagement with the acting chief of police, Andy Penn. We've also had engagement with Beth Arthur, the sheriff, relating to procedures and policies. Those of you who've been watching, there was a death at the Arlington County Detention Facility in October. So we have been monitoring that. And I will speak at the tail end of this meeting, on the backside of this meeting, about what's going on there. It's been a lot, y'all. We have dialogues on race and equity taking place. We have school resource officer work group going on. Again, we've had some of our tenants here in Arlington who've had some issues at some of the affordable house at one of the affordable housing units. I think we are turning the corner on that. But there's a lot of challenges out there. We got the park down in Green Valley changed to John Robinson Park, thanks to the county board and Portia Clark and the entire Green Valley team on that one. That was awesome to hear. And we had the, back to criminal justice, we have recruitment about to take place here in a few months. I would assume for the next chief of police, which we need to have some community engagement on that. The NAACP will be right there at the table. That's serious. So with that being said, many people ask me, Julius, how you do it with a full-time job? I love it. But again, it wouldn't be possible without the many volunteers at the NAACP, and our membership is just continuing to grow. So I'm very thankful. With that being said, we're going to move on to, if you're looking at your agenda, with our financial status update. I know Bill White, you're on the call. Bill White. Give us a few seconds, everyone. All right, if I can't get Bill, I think I have his presentation. Pull it up here. Give us just a second, everyone. Here we go. I think this is going to be it. All right. Bill White, are you with us? If not, I'm going ahead and talk to your financial report. So for our members, what you have here is a financial report for the branch for the month of September and October. Our treasurer, Bill White, put this together for us. Some of our expenditures and our ending balance at the end, $14,392.59, which is pretty good. I will say this about Bill White. Many of you already know this. Bill White has been the treasurer of Arlington Branch NAACP for, wow, a little bit over a decade. And Bill has decided to step down this year, the end of this term, due to a number of health concerns and ailments. So we're just thankful that Bill was able to be with us for such an extended period of time. And he's still going to remain a member and give some wise counsel to you there, Roy Austin, from time to time. But we thank you, Bill, for everything. Next, I'm going to call up Gabrielle, our Environmental Climate Justice Chair. Are you on with us, Gabrielle?
I am. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Environmental Climate Justice here. We had a meeting a week ago. For those of you who don't know, we're a pretty new committee. We've been, active for the past several months. And at this committee meeting, we had a really great discussion about where we want the committee to be going, what kinds of issues we want to cover. Some of you who are not familiar with environmental climate justice, it's not environmental issues as a whole. We focus specifically on environmental issues that disproportionately affect communities of color or low-income communities. And so trying to sort of put our focus on those issues in Arlington. For example, we talked about transportation, we talked about unhealthy living, energy efficiency, tree coverage, and then also engaging youth. So this may have some crossover with future committees that we talked about with housing, or with if there's some kind of education committee crossover that we might want to look to the future. So we're sort of doing some planning, which is great, and looking at the issues in Arlington. We have a series, which is a Black Birder Walk series that some of you may have seen. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we are going to have to postpone the December walk that we had scheduled, but we are hoping to do our spring series and revamp that up so that we can stay safe, but also reach our goals. So that's most of what's happening. We are not going to have a committee meeting in December, but if you are interested in being part of this committee and taking on some of that crossover of environmental issues with some of those other committees, feel free to send me a text in the chat, or you can email me as well. So that's probably about it.
That's all you have there for us? Thank you so much, Gabrielle, for what you and your team have been doing the past several months. As you've heard, members, this is a relatively new committee for the Arlington Branch NAACP, and they hit the ground running, I must say. And I think the team, Gabrielle, was around, had about 5 or 6 folks on it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I told everyone, enjoy the holiday season. There's no heavy lifting in the month of December. So again, thank you. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 6, which is Amazon. Brooke, are you with us?
I am. Hello.
Great. Thank you.
So thank you, everybody, for welcoming me tonight. Mr. Spain just asked that I join you this evening to speak about an initiative that we had through Amazon that we announced last week, which was sort of to commemorate our 2-year anniversary of announcing Arlington as the location for our second headquarters. And as part of that, we really wanted to sort of focus on the community in our celebration. And so we did a number of things on the site in our actual neighborhood in National Landing, where the actual building is going to be, but we also wanted to celebrate the community more broadly. So we made an announcement of about $9 million worth of investments throughout Arlington and the greater DMV. And I'm really, really happy that I had a conversation with Mr. Spain earlier in the fall about the NAACP Arlington Branch Scholarship Program. And so as part of that investment, we have made an investment of $200,000 for scholarships through the NAACP Arlington Branch. And we do still have some details to work out about how that's going to go, but I could not be more pleased that we were able to do that. I had the opportunity to go to the Freedom Awards banquet last fall and see some of the students who were the beneficiaries of some of those scholarships. And I just could not be happier that we're going to have an opportunity to support some students as well through Amazon. So I'm very, very happy that we were able to make that work. I heard as some of the issues that were addressed previously in the meeting in terms of housing and eviction. Part of that $9 million announcement included $3 million that's going to various groups in the area to help tenants who are facing eviction, and an additional $1 million, or part of it's the $1 million that the scholarship is part of. There was an additional $1 million that was specifically earmarked for organizations in the area that are working on equity and inclusion and diversity issues. And so we were really happy to be able to make those investments, especially at this time. So I'm happy to answer any questions because I know I'm not able to take questions all the time.
Yeah.
My job is community engagement, and that's a little bit difficult to do remotely. So I'm happy to answer a few questions if there's time.
Yeah.
If that's okay with you.
So Brooke, what I'm going to ask everyone, if you do have questions for Brooke, just go ahead and put them in the chat. We're going to try to stay to schedule here, and we will get those questions answered for you in a very prompt manner. So yeah, but Brooke, thank you for the collaboration we've had, not only since this past fall, but since you came here. You know the NAACP and our position on a number of issues, not just housing, but also tenant rights, minimum wage, right to work, all those good things. And we look forward as a branch to having dialogue with not only you, but also the leadership team. So we're just one spoke in the wheel, right? But I think as a collective, we could work together and hold each other accountable, right? So in a good way. So thank you, Brooke, for that. We're gonna move on. Is Adora on the line? Adora Williams.
I'm here.
Thank you. So I'm gonna turn the meeting over to Adora. Is Brendan with us, or did he couldn't make it?
Yeah, I'm here, but Adora's got our update.
Okay. Adora's gonna. So Brendan, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Brendan, since you're the chair, and then you can make your do your thing. So, folks, over to Brendan. He was the chair of the election procedures committee. So the floor is yours, Brendan.
Yeah, thanks, JD. Actually, Adora's got all the details to share.
Okay, so the election supervisory committee mailed out ballots to all of the eligible members. So 508 total ballots were sent out, received, and the ballots went out early November. There was a deadline to receive ballots of November 20th. So when we went and got the ballots on November 20th, we received 70 total ballots. 2 of those ballots were is invalidated. One was blank. One came back with a note that the member was deceased. So he's still on the roll, so may have died during his membership year. So total ballots counted were 68. 68 ballots counted. So the slate of candidates that we had all received, there was no one contested. So I guess I'm going to be listing our 2020, 2022 officers. So for the position of president, Julius, do I need to say the number of votes too, or just that?
No, just the name.
Okay, so our president will be Julius Spain. First Vice President, Kent Carter. Second Vice President, Sharice Kearns. Third Vice President, Mike Heminger. Secretary, Wanda Younger. Assistant Secretary, Dominique Jenkins. Our treasurer will be Roy Austin. Assistant Treasurer, Adriana Spain. And our 3 executive committee members are Karen Nightingale, Simone Walker, and James Younger. And that is our report. Thank you and congratulations to all of our new officers.
Well, thank you, Adora, Brendan, and the entire team for your hard work and over the past month or so. I will tell you, as a regional VP for the NAACP in the 13 branches, everyone's had different means and ways in which they went about doing elections. Typically, the Arlington branch, we will all meet in November in a room, maybe at Walter Reed Community Center during the day. People will drop off their ballots, and then we would have a vote. COVID, of course, had made things a little difficult. So there were some options we had. One of the options was to, have people do ballots and kind of drop them off, right? Election buddy was also another option. But I said, what we didn't want to do is disenfranchise any members due to COVID and put them in a very peculiar place. So Brendan and his team got together and we sent everyone who was on our rolls a ballot. Whether they return it or not, it was up to them. They just had to put a stamp on it. But we could not do affirmation votes in NAACP. We had to mail out ballots. But we're here. and we got elected. And next month, I think we're going to do this the second Monday, we will have installation of officers for the 2021-2022 administration. So congratulations, everyone. Looking forward to it. Any questions about that? All right, so the esteemed education
Hey,
committee.
JD,
Yes,
before we-
ma'am.
Before we go on, there is a question in the chat
Mhm.
that says, will the names and contact information for the new NAACP officers be listed on the website?
Yes, so thank you. We will, so we're going to do some we're going to revitalize our website a little bit in 2021. So we plan to have not only just the names and photos, hopefully photos next month, but also have generic emails for each one of the members relative to their role in the NAACP. So it won't be Julia Spain, it'll be president or education committee, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to upgrade a little bit. So look forward to some changes in 2021. Hopefully that answers the question. All right, education committee, you're up. We have our co-chair, Cherie Kearns, and Simone Walker, Simone Walker. Welcome back, Simone. I know you've been gone for a couple months, but we're glad to have you back in the fold, freedom fighter. All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, Simone, do you want to start off and then I'll pick up?
Sure. So, can I share a screen, Julius?
You should.
It says host disable participant screen sharing.
Hold on a second and see if I can do
So
that.
I'll start talking in the meantime.
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
So, this past week we had a pretty disturbing incident occurring through virtual learning at HB Woodlawn High School in a 10th grade chemistry class, whereby the chemistry teacher presented an online exercise that included a number of questions with fill in the blank. And so the question that caused consternation had to do with George Floyd. And it said something to the effect of George Floyd died because a police officer had a blank on his neck. And the answer to the question was the chemical compound neon, N-E-O-N, which is a pun, a play on words on knee on his neck. And so, a number of students were upset. It caused a lot of consternation, outrage. It made the media. We are pleased, however, that the principal acted quickly to meet with teachers and students and issue a statement. Her initial statement did not have any details about what exactly happened. It's just that we can't say, but we're looking into an incident. But she did follow up with the school. She also followed back up on last Friday. They've met with all of the students in all of these teachers' classes, not just the one that the incident occurred in. We're also pleased that the superintendent followed up with an all-school talk system-wide message that did not diminish the significance or the harm caused by that incident, but and had an accurate depiction of what occurred. Because in the past we've had administrators downplay or try to kind of water over what actually happened, but he was pretty forthcoming and honest, and indicated that the teacher has been removed from classroom duties pending an investigation. So that would probably be an administrative investigation on their part. So as of now, we trust that APS will follow through on appropriate action with regards to the situation. we did issue a statement, which I just kind of wanted to share. Okay, how do I get, here it is. So we issued a press release with our thoughts on the matter. What is of importance here is that this incident was not isolated for APS, right? It's just, it has been the culmination of a pattern of incidents, either by teachers or by students or by unknown individuals in our schools. I think we've had maybe half a dozen over for this year. This one, of course, was the most egregious. And it seems to be getting systemically worse. The one immediately preceding this that everyone knows about was the Yorktown banner with Victor O'Neill photographers that blacked out faces of the Black students and used it to outline the why for Yorktown. So there is a pattern here within APS, and that is what is most concerning to us in the NAACP. Our mission under the bylaws is to help root out racism in our schools. And so we hope that our statement will propel Dr. Duran to do more, to implement an anti-racist culture within APS. Currently, our teachers don't get implicit bias training. We think that's necessary. The only thing that I'm aware of is cultural competence training, which is on an 8-year cycle. So every 8 years, teachers get it through professional development, which is not nearly enough or often enough. So you can have a student go all the way through elementary school and not be exposed, and even into middle school, and never be exposed to a teacher who has gotten cultural competency training. So we will be following up with the superintendent, our CDEIO, which is the Chief Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Officer, Aaron Gregory, and the Chief of Staff as well, and monitoring this progress. One thing that we need as a branch that we're desperately in need of, we need to have a legal redress committee, ideally headed up by an attorney who could help investigate these incidents. But what we need to start doing is having a path to collect data, because we hear a lot of anecdotal data. People will tell us things, but we really need a repository of collecting these types of complaints, because APS is not doing so. And so we would really like to track this more closely, but we do need a legal redress committee. So if anyone here who is a member in good standing, preferably an attorney who would like to head up a legal redress committee, that would be wonderful. So that's all from me. I'll turn it over to Sharice. And I don't know how to get this off. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Good evening.
I need to stop sharing.
Good evening, everybody. One of the other things that, among several things that we are monitoring fairly closely, is the SRO work group. And as you know, back in September, we took a position that stated that the NAACP, in keeping with state and national resolutions and guidance, and the will, and our executive committee vote, were asking APS to remove SROs from schools. So APS has decided that instead of having this be a decision that was made at the school board level to discontinue the SRO program, which has been in place since 1969, they have convened a work group that is going to consist of approximately 50 members. There's a fairly extensive application process that was completed for people who are interested to complete. It asks a bunch of very detailed data, work experience, education, your experience with APS, whether or not you have participated in an advisory committee, what your community activism looks like, and explicitly whether or not you support SROs and why. The application period for that ended on November 9th. And we have been reaching out to APS leadership and having conversations about some of our concerns, which mainly focus around transparency in how the individuals who will be on this group are selected, the level of police officer involvement in the group, whether or not portions of the group are going to be forward facing so that the public can see these deliberations happen as they're happening, and as we're, as the group is reaching out and having community engagement. And also whether or not, I'm sorry guys, I have a sore throat today. And also just to make sure that the group is not performative in nature. So if you're convening a group that's going to be nearly 50 people and last nearly 6 months, something needs to come out of it that's going to be actionable by the school board and by APS leadership. And one of our concerns is, what's going to come of this after they do all of the work that's in the charge. The charge is fairly detailed, it's fairly technical. It calls for a literature review on SROs in schools. It calls for a look back on the entire history of APS, SROs and APS. It also asks for a financial analysis for any recommendations that are made. We have asked that the charge be changed a little bit, revised a bit, so that you're not asking a group of people who don't have experience and knowledge of the financial aspects and operations of APS to provide an estimate of cost. So we're asking that that financial piece be carved out and given to APS staff who have the experience and expertise to conduct this work. So we have talked briefly, and this is all as of Friday. I have not spoken with APS leadership since then. They received 102 individual applicants, and they're in the process of vetting those now. We also asked for selection criteria to be made public, and any rubrics that are used to score the applicants, for those to be made public as well as the data, the response data, made anonymous and shared so that we can see what the population looks like. So we're waiting to hear back on some of those requests. Our goal is to make sure that if they are doing this work, that it results in actionable feedback, things that APS are actually going to take up, and that it's not performative in nature. Again, not just to be able to say that we had a broad-based community action, which we have history of APS saying, we had this group and that group and that group involved, and then what comes of it is not in keeping with what the community recommended. So we are going to continue to monitor this issue and continue to advocate for this to be a process that that is manageable and that is really going to help us understand and come to a decision in the long run. And that's it, but we're also working, we've got other things going on, JD, I promise I'm only gonna take 1 second. We've got boundary issues going on in APS. We've got some policy revisions that are coming up. So we're asking members of our community, our ed committee community to come in, help out, You know, if you don't know what it's like to do a policy analysis, don't worry about that. We can show you how to go through. It really is reading. But we really would like to have more people taking a more active role in what we're doing, because we have a lot. And Simone and I, it's more than 2 people can do. It's probably more than 10 people or 20 people can do. But the more people we have active and engaged, the easier that work will be for us. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cherie, for your update of the Education Committee. And for the members, as you have heard, they are definitely engaged. I think on paper, we have 22 members signed up for the Education Committee. But this type of work is, you just don't show up to a meeting and all of a sudden things happen. It requires countless hours of your personal time. So again, we challenge our members, those that have showed interest in being part of the Education Committee or any other committee. Don't just sign up and go back out and tell folks, hey, I'm part of NAACP and on this committee. We need you to get, roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty, because there's a lot of work to be done. Speaking about education, and there was the Attorney General had some results out in Loudoun County over the past weekend. Many of you may have saw that, the events that transpired as it related to discrimination in Loudoun County Public Schools. But a pretty decent win for Loudoun County NAACP. And I hope to bring Pastor Michelle to our branch here in due time to have her talk a little bit more about some of the things they saw occurring over extended period of time out in Loudoun, and what made them want to go to the Attorney General's office. So anyways, moving right along, we have Karen Nightingale. Karen Nightingale, are you on the line, Karen? Agenda item number 9.
I'm here.
Whoa, where you at? Where you at? There you go. Oh, yes, ma'am. So Karen's going to speak with us about 2 agenda items real quick. Agenda item 9 and 10, which we have a seminar coming up on December 6th for our students of the Britton Foundation. And the Britton Foundation, again, I think, Deborah, you're on the line with us tonight as well. They have been wonderful over the years, supporting our youth in their education, and to also talk a little bit about the virtual Freedom Fund banquet, if we're able to pull it off in December. So Karen, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Julius. Yes, first of all, good evening, everyone. Wanted to speak briefly about the program that we're putting up with the Britton Foundation. Is December 6th, and that includes all of the students who are participating in the Britton Foundation scholarship program, as well as other students who are participating in the program from others, additional scholarships that we offer throughout the NAACP. It's a great program. The ability for the students to come in and get a great overview of education, school, talk a little bit about finance, business, and each student, this is going to be a requirement every year that they come participate in this seminar. The Britton Foundation has lined up some excellent speakers, and our own president and vice president, Julius Fain and Kent Carter, will also speak, as well as myself, very briefly, but they will be able to come in and participate. It is a requirement that we make each one of these students attend, but it's something that's going to benefit them. So again, it's December 6th. All students that we have currently in our scholarship program have registered to attend. It was a little hard getting them together during the pandemic. However, we've been able to do that. So kudos goes out to Keisha Tinsley and Ms. Britton for pulling this off. So we want to commend that. It's a great feat, and we're excited about that. The next thing that we'll talk about, and Jill can jump in as well, Jill and I have been tasked to come up with a virtual Freedom Fund banquet. We do it every year. It's usually in October. It is great success in the community. The community really looks forward to it. We have some great ideas. We're trying to pull it off in December. We're playing around with some dates. One of the things that we're going to try to see if it could go off either on a weeknight or a weekend, but it will be virtual. It will not be as long as our normal banquet, but we will have a guest speaker. We will have an awards presentation. We will honor our scholarship recipients, and we will have a portion of that we will be honoring our frontline workers, the firemen, police, hospital workers, everyone, grocery store. We're going to do some honorees there and just to support those folks that have given everything during this whole pandemic. So we want to be able to do that for our community and give back a little bit. We are anticipating a surcharge for the program, but it will be for scholarship and for other community activities. So we're still pulling it together. You all should receive some type of information very shortly. We are looking at the middle of December, and we want to encourage everyone to come. One of the things that we're thinking about is that we have ability to be able, since we can't come together and have a meal, we're trying to engage a few restaurants to be able to sponsor a meal so that you can get an NAACP special, and then you can have a dinner with us during that period of time. So more details to come. We're pulling it all together, but it will, of course, be virtual, and we're quite excited about that. So I don't know if Jill has anything else she wants to jump on there or not. If not, I turn it back over to our president.
Well, thank you, Madam Executive Director Karen Nightingale. Does Jill have anything to say? I guess you're good. You're solid. Moving right along. Thank you for all your hard work, both you and Jill, and Keisha as well, our secretary. You know, she's working behind the scenes, making a lot of things happen. I hope we can pull this off the middle of December. Agenda item number 11, 85th Virginia State Conference Annual Convention. Let me share my screen here with you. So there was not an election year for the Virginia State Conference to the NAACP. We had 4 delegates attend. It was virtual, of course. I'm just going to share with you some of the most significant things that happened. We had 3 resolutions that were passed at the Virginia State Conference this year, and these are just the draft forms, but with the exception of a few minor administrative errors, these are the resolutions that were passed. One was dealing with Juneteenth, Independence Day, that did pass the Virginia State Conference. The next one was, pull this up, this was recognizing a proposed resolution, potential discriminatory use of private, state, and local militias. Once these are sent out to the branch, we will share them with our membership. So that's the second resolution. And the third resolution was honoring active members who are 100 years of age. We also brought on our new executive director. He will be formally introduced at a later time. Very young, ambitious, full of energy. He's going to help change the Virginia State Conference and the NAACP in a very positive way, I believe. It's been a few years since the Virginia State Conference has had a executive director. So this young gentleman has been with the NAACP for many years. And like I said, I can't wait to see what he does for us in a very positive way. So, but we hope to bring him actually to one of our meetings here soon. All right. I want to share this with you because to go back just a second here. Close this out. All right. So we heard from Amazon a little bit early, but I think it's important that I share with the membership. We at the NAACP we receive donations, all the time. This past month, in the month of November, not only did Amazon provide a donation of $200,000 plus the $5,000 for their membership. The Ivy Foundation of Northern Virginia gave us a donation, and Mr. Jerome Villanueva and Rachel Porter. So we can all just take a moment, give them a round of applause. I mean, they didn't have to, but they gave us a good bit of money for our programs, and we're very appreciative. Membership, I always say, I don't care what organization you're with, you can't do anything without membership, but I always want to bring this up to give you a snapshot of the health of the Arlington branch NAACP. And this is a snapshot as of yesterday. So we have 655, that means paid members. Of those 655, 465 are annual adult paying members, regular $30 a year. And it goes on, right? We have a few Silver Life subscribing, Bronze, Gold Life. But I also, as we're here at the end of the year, I want to single out our new Silver Life members. In 2020, we gained 28 Silver Life members. And what Silver Life subscribing members, excuse me. And what that means is they pay $75 a year, right? For up to 10 years, or they can pay in advance. And then after 10 years, they're $750. They will become lifetime members of the NAACP. So the list is here, but it was 28 of them. And I just want to put them out there on Front Street, many people may say, but thank them for their willingness to take on and become a Silver Life subscribing member. I also want to take a moment and give thanks to our 10 new Silver Life members for 2020. Now, these individuals paid $750 up front, and they're members, and these are the dates that they joined. But all these individuals, I want to thank them on behalf of the NAACP and the members of this branch, because they're Silver Life members now. That is forever. So thank you. And I will tell you, our administrator for the state conference, Ms. Gloria Sweetlove, who sits on the national board, she was talking to us at the executive committee meeting a few weeks ago and stated, they're looking at some ways at national to kind of tweak the membership portal and membership programs. So I encourage everyone, if you're going to stick it out with the NAACP, yeah, it's okay. $30 a year, I got it. It's probably better if you just, do Silver Life subscribing. If you can afford it and handle that, that's the way to go, because in 10 years, you're done, right? So something to think about. All right. Criminal Justice Committee and Police Practices Group agenda item number 13. Vice President Kent Carter, are you with us?
Yeah, how you doing, sir? How is everyone doing this evening?
All right, you're going on spotlight, sir. There you go. Floor is yours, man.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. First of all, I just want to congratulate everyone that was elected this year for the next administration, and then also all the volunteers that help out with the various committees that we have, because it really does take a team to accomplish what all that we're doing this year. So thank you all for your commitment for the next 2 years. Real quick on the criminal justice update. Let me start with the police practices group first. So we're still meeting weekly as subcommittees, and then monthly as a whole. So we're attempting to get the recommendations out as a committee before the end of the year. So we're kind of getting close. We're almost a little bit more than a month out. We got Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, so a few holidays mixed in there. But the committees are working hard, and we're still looking at trying to get those recommendations out to the county manager so that he can, put those forth next year to the county board for consideration. Again, if you guys have any questions or want to look at any of the public meetings that were held over the last couple of months, those are all listed on the county board website, on the county website. So you can go back and look at those, and you can also still submit questions or concerns to the email that's listed on there. So I would highly recommend that you guys do that. Criminal justice update. We had a meeting, as you guys know, the president talked about it a little bit earlier, following the death of the gentleman recently in the jail. We met with the acting police chief and the sheriff, not to discuss that case specifically, but just to try to get a grasp or an understanding of some of their police practices, their policies that are in place, and just some of the actions that are going on at the facility. So we did have that initial meeting. I think we're going to regroup as a team, and look at how the meeting went, and look at future meetings and see where we can best put forth our efforts and try to get some type of change because as you guys saw in the media release, there have been a few deaths at the jail over the last few years. It's really alarming. So we want to make sure that whatever impact positively that we can have on that to create change and create a more safe environment for those that are incarcerated, we're definitely going to try to do that. So if you guys have any questions about that, reach out to us and we'll be glad to talk to you in more detail. I wanted to, again, personally thank all of the volunteers that helped out with the Criminal Justice Committee this past year. It's been a very, very, very busy year. Tons of Zoom meetings, tons of calls, tons of, outreach that we've been doing. So thank you all for your support. And I also wanted to give a few minutes to Senator Barbara Favola, who's going to update us all on the recent state legislation, specifically regarding criminal justice reform that was passed, and I guess answer any of your questions that you might have. Senator Favola, are you still on the call? Maybe. Mr. President, do you see her on the call still, or?
Give me just a second to go through here.
Yeah, no worries.
Mm,
But yeah, so going forward, I think the president wants us to kind of take a little bit of a break in December, following election. So our next committee meeting as a whole, we're gonna ramp it back up in January after the holidays, and work on our vision for the upcoming year. So again, anyone who is interested, please shoot us an email, contact me, let me know if you're interested. Would love to have you help out on the committee.
Kent, you may want to ask, give me a second here.
Okay.
Delegate Patrick Hope, I know Senator Favola stepped away. Is there anything you want to provide, sir? As relates to...
Yeah. No, I'm certainly glad to. And
thank you.
I sort of look at criminal justice reform broadly, also includes police reform as well. We took a number of different positive steps in both areas. One related to earned prison sentence credits. This gives people for good time an incentive to practice good time to get out of prison earlier. We also did a bill, one of my bills, related to pretext traffic stops. There's a number of minor infractions where law enforcement pull people over for very subjective things, and so we've made those from primary offenses to secondary offenses. We did some things on no-knock search warrants, on Marcus Alert, which relates to calling law enforcement, or rather not calling law enforcement, or embedding some mental health teams, crisis units in law enforcement that will respond to non-threatening situations, most of it homeless situations, substance abuse, and mental health situations. We put a ban on chokeholds, and we really streamlined our process for training. I know it was mentioned earlier about teacher training. We did some law enforcement training, requiring that in the academy training, standardizing that, and also in-person, in-service training, requiring implicit bias training on how to deal with people with disabilities, mental illness, and substance abuses, the de-escalation techniques as well. And we also expanded the number of incidences in which would trigger decertification. We heard a number of law enforcement officers testified that when they would fire or a law enforcement officer would quit, it was very frustrating because they would see them in another agency, just maybe a neighboring jurisdiction. And so decertifying them, including more criteria for decertifying those law enforcement officers so that they can't be law enforcement anywhere else. So we took a good look at that. That's a big summary of a lot that we've done. We did have some missed opportunities. One was expungement, which I do anticipate that will come back. Oh, I didn't mention the civilian review boards. That's an area that I know Arlington is engaged with. I know NAACP is also engaged with Arlington to do that. Under current law, civilian review boards are just advisory. And what this would do, while it would make it permissive, what it would do is give it some teeth, give it some subpoena power and some final decision power as well. And so I think that's a very good step. I do regret, though, that that bill excluded sheriffs. You know, in a lot of cases, a lot of these incidences are internal, and just in the spirit of accountability and transparency, I think you've got to shed some light and put in the public some of these situations that can oftentimes be swept under the rug. And so I hope that that bill comes back to broaden that, that to include sheriff's departments. So I'll stop there and just see if there's any questions or anything else you want me to go into more detail about.
Thanks, Delegate Hope, for that. Kent, you go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Delegate Hope, thank you again. Have all of those bills been signed into law already by the governor?
Yeah, no, they all have been signed into law, and in most of the cases, they go into effect March the 1st. So I would say positive overall, but we still have a lot of work to do. And session starts in about a month and a half.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Delegate Hope. I do want to welcome County Board Member Matt DeFerranti for joining us. Thanks, Matt, for coming on. I see you down there. I don't want to go through this call without missing anyone because I tend to do that from time to time, just get wrapped up into things. But Pat, just back to legislation, just the Virginia State Conference of the NAACP, we will be putting together, Galen Connaught and all of those folks, some legislative package for the General Assembly. So more to follow, and we look forward to working with you. Simone, are we looking at bringing that bill back up in the next session?
Pat, are we looking at bringing that bill back up in the next session?
See, Pat, I didn't mean to put you in a situation.
I want to follow through on that.
Well, let me just say this. Simone was so effective in this that the administration is strongly considering put it in their budget. And a little birdie told me that the department has recommended that it be in the budget with funding attached. And so if that's the case, then we'll certainly support that. And I think that will be a major, major victory. I think the message got through loud and clear that our current screening system was inadequate. And thanks to the lobbying of you, Simone, you're very effective in coming down there multiple occasions. I think it had a huge impact, not just on the legislators, but clearly on the administration as well.
Thank you. Is that a yes? Because I want it on the book.
Well, we'll see. The governor will have his budget released next month, and so we'll see. If it's not, we'll have to do something.
We'll talk.
I know we will.
Great. Thank you. And we're a little bit ahead of schedule. We may even end up closing out early tonight. I was going to speak briefly. I know in the opening remarks, there was a number of things on the agenda that had slated for the president to speak about. And of course, we didn't put everything on the agenda, but I think it's important that you do know at least some engagements we've had. Mike Heminger, are you on the line? You know how I do. Let me set you up for a second, Mike. So, Mike is not only a member of the branch, but he's one of our delegates over at CivFed. And we reached out several months ago in early summer to obtain membership with CivFed. Let me tell you, it was easy to I think initially get the paperwork drafted and put forth. But I will say this much: there has been some challenges as of late, not so much with the membership, but just personalities. But Mike is over there along with a few others working with their civil rights working group, also the legislation committee. I've been attending the meetings, working with the president of the CivFed as well, and some of the past presidents. There's enormous potential in our collaborative efforts on many similar issues. So Mike, if you don't mind, just giving everyone a little heads up on some of the things you're working on behalf of the NAACP there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. And if it's okay at the end of my remarks, I'd love to call on my good friend, Juliet Hisney, who's really leading the charge in this effort. But long story short, NAACP joined CivFed over the course of the summer. As part of that, we were able to get delegates onto the legislation committee, and more specifically, a civil rights working group. As part of joining that group, I've been representing the NAACP and working very closely with the legislation committee. And we came up with a preliminary report on civil rights. It's an assessment on the status of civil rights in Arlington. It was almost 60 pages long. Following this, we were able to briefly touch on qualified immunity. This has triggered response and prompted some people in CivFed to take actions. One person wrote a resolution asking to remove the NAACP from CivFed. And that was actually discussed at the board meeting yesterday. The board did vote unanimously to reject the resolution, but it has been an uphill battle since I joined the legislation committee, and more specifically, the civil rights working group. To me, the topics are not controversial. They're not partisan. They're matters of human decency, but not everyone sees it that way. So yeah, it's been an uphill battle, but we're doing good work. Just want to quickly call on Juliet to see if you want to add anything else.
Sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I have been really delighted to see NAACP join the Civic Federation. I've been wanting this to happen actually for some years. There is some historic, there's some historic issues at the CivFed, and it is really wonderful to have some new voices there. And I think that it's a great opportunity to bring people along to places they haven't been before and think about things that maybe they haven't considered before. But we definitely have run into some resistance, but I'm happy to say I think that the majority of the people at the Civic Federation have found the report and our most recent panel on qualified immunity to be very informative and helpful and interesting, and it's been well received. So I'm pleased about that. I was hoping we might get a resolution through this fall on qualified immunity. That was not to be as a result of some of the pushback, but I think that we are actually making good headway, and the legislation committee did send a letter to the board recently emphasizing the need to look at the history of race with regard to the CivFed, and also encouraging people to, you know, adopt anti-racist principles as we move forward. And so I don't really have anything more to add than that, but I just am extremely pleased that we've been able to make this headway. Thank you, Michael.
Well, as you can see, everyone, we are engaged in many fronts, and Juliet is in fact a member of the Arlington branch NAACP. Thank you, Juliet, for your hard work. I know you're a member of many organizations, but the time and effort that you've devoted to the NAACP does not go unnoticed. And Mike, what more can be said about you, Mike? I mean, you're all over the place, so thank you. So I was going to talk about the Arlington County logo, y'all. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait because December's not here yet. Let's just wait and see what happens. Steve Hammond, who's a historian for the Syphax family, did give a great presentation at the White House Historical Society this past weekend. We do have a member here on the call with us, Jill DeWitt. She and I and a few others, we follow Steve Hammond, and Casey may be on as well. But if you want to know more about, you know, not our history, go to Dr. Taylor, I would say, about Arlington, because he knows a lot about Arlington. But like the Syphax family and Arlington, the Arlington House, Robert E. Lee Memorial, and all those things, Steve's a good bit of knowledge there. But Jill, you want to say anything about Steve and some of the things he's been doing as of late?
Sure. Yeah, no, he's been giving some wonderful talks. He just gave a talk for the White House Historical Association, which is located in Decatur House, right near the White House. And they've just done a renovation of the historic house's kitchen area to focus on interpretation of the history of the enslaved peoples that were there. And one of the women there is Steve Hammond is a descendant of. So he talked about that connection. He also did a talk just 2 days later for Alexandria's Historical Society. And if any of you have seen, or if you have any connections to the Woodrow Wilson School in Washington, D.C. is going to be renamed. And there's a poll right now with various suggestions for what the new name of the school should be. And one of them is to name it after William Syphax. So if you haven't taken a look at that, please do. I can try to find it and put it in the chat real fast too. But they're looking for as much community involvement as possible.
Thank you, Jill. I see that Senator Barbara Favola has joined us. So Senator Favola, I'm going to allow you the floor for a few minutes. Kit had kind of set you up, but I'm going to let everyone, don't leave. We do have some more information to pass on the agenda. We have, you should stick around. We have some more for something else for you to hear. So go ahead. The floor is yours, Senator.
Thank you so much, Julius. And I apologize for being a few minutes delayed. I had taken some calls. We did have a very, I think, transformational special session. And I do want to thank the NAACP, the Arlington branch, as well as the Fairfax branch and other similar advocacy groups for their help in moving legislation forward this past session. The one piece of legislation that I think is most impactful, although we had several important pieces of legislation, Virginia had been one of only 4 states where the default in a jury trial regarding the sentencing for the defendant had always fallen to the jury. And apparently, historically, juries have been much harsher on sentencing, had not considered mitigating circumstances. So now Senator Morrissey, some of you know Joe Morrissey, Senator Morrissey had put a bill in, and I had helped him mightily to get it passed in its last version. So now the judge will do the sentencing in all jury trials unless the defendant specifically asks otherwise. So I think that's really important. It brings into context a much fairer and a more balanced application of the judicial system. We also, another very important thing, individuals who may be suffering from mental health crises or diminished intellectual capacity or some other condition, frequently they don't understand an order that a police officer may be giving them and inadvertently touch the police officer or turn their back on a police officer or have some light physical contact. Prior to our special session, that action was considered an automatic felony. Now, the action would be evaluated by a judge. And again, culpability would be taken into consideration. Mitigating circumstances would be taken into consideration. So a judge would determine if such behavior rises to the level of a felony. And that's a very important thing, actually. Of course, we've now mandated certain requirements in our training for police. We are going to require de-escalation techniques all the time. We are going to enhance our, mental health crisis intervention training. And very importantly, we are going to require over a period of 3 years that every jurisdiction in the Commonwealth establish a mental health crises intervention program with the police. So this is a big deal. Some jurisdictions outside of Virginia, some jurisdictions in the country are using a co-responder model where a mental health worker actually goes out on the site with a police officer. The mental health worker is in charge of the site, attempts to de-escalate the situation. The police officer is only there to provide safety. Because 70% of the calls actually deal with situations where the person is in some type of crisis. It's not a intended intended vicious behavior, if you will. So, so we're looking at jurisdictions would have latitude. They could do the co-responder. They could do a mental health crisis unit, mobile unit. They could come up with another way of having a mental health worker called and come to the site at a certain, point. But the intent there is to really sort of marry the police work with mental health work in those situations where a mental health worker could really better manage the behavior of the alleged offender. So I think that's a good thing. And I think that's what people were meaning when they were talking about, sort of changing the nature of policing. We want to take into account all the different situations that come up, the understanding of the alleged offender and what really is going on. Because so many people call 911 simply because somebody's acting strangely and they're concerned and they don't know who else to call. Well, in that situation, a mental health worker would be a huge asset. And I think it's probably the case in many situations. So, and we're going to put money into that. My budget amendment passed funding that. We also have language, a new law, which enables jurisdictions to establish civilian review boards and provides some access to authority for those civilian review boards. So the local jurisdiction would have to establish the board and then determine how the board would be shaped and what the mission would be. But we've put more tools in the toolbox. For example, a civilian review board under this new law could go to a judge, ask for a subpoena to get access to records or documentation, which may be incredibly helpful in investigating a situation. So those are the kinds of things, we banned chokeholds, we banned no-knock warrants. So we've done some, I think, really important work. And I do hope it's work that will make a huge difference in the way we apply our criminal justice system and policing. I don't know. I know Delegate Hope was on the line. Some of these bills came through my committee. I chair Rehab and Social Services. So the bills that actually reformed the jails, the credit sentencing bill when you're in jail, all that stuff came through my committee. I know Patrick had the police reform stuff in the House. So it was a busy session. I got no sleep.
Yes, it was. It was.
I got no sleep reading all those bills, but
yeah. Well, thank you, Senator Favola. And I know you've been in contact, your office has, with the Vice President, Kent Carter, off and on. So we appreciate everything you've been doing. And you're always welcome to come back and speak at the NAACP.
I'm a member. I come to your meetings monthly. I'm very religious about it.
All right. Well, thank you. So we're going to move on, and we do have, again, I said, a county board member on the call. And Matt, if you don't mind, if you have some words to say, I'll give you, 60 seconds, sir, if you have anything you want to bring forth. I know this is last minute, but the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. Monique. Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you for the chance to be with you tonight. There's been a lot of work that has come forward over the last few days. But certainly we are facing a difficult budget over the coming year. For those who don't know, we're looking at a deficit of about 50 million next year, which is more than the county board the county has faced in a long time. And that is including a deficit that our schools are facing. So it is a big priority of mine and of ours as a county to fund our schools and the need that our kids are facing. Certainly over the last month, big priority of mine has been a couple of areas, two areas that I think impact the NAACP's historic commitment to fairness, justice, and equity. And those specifics are opening a child care facility on the west end of Columbia Pike. Many of you may know Aspire, and then which helps serve low-income students of color, and predominantly Latinx from the area just north of Arlington Mill. And so worked hard on that, and also have been working on improving living conditions at the Serrano, which is an affordable housing complex or building. So those two pieces of work have been a key part. There's also some other county board action items, but I wanted to highlight those two because they might not always be covered, but I do know that they're very important to this chapter in the membership. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt, for those words. And we understand we're going through some very difficult times, challenging times here due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and there's going to be some shortfalls in budget. We got all of that, and appreciate, I will tell you this publicly. Thank you for what you and your team did with Serrano. Right, I know it was kept you up at night. Right, remember, sleepless nights. That's what you stated. And we appreciate what you did over there, but we also know that there's other affordable housing units in Arlington that are suffering as well. So more to follow. At this time, everyone, thank you, Matt. Item number 14. So the Vice President spoke briefly about the incident that occurred back in October of first part of October, whereby there was a gentleman who was arrested, brought into custody, and died at the Arlington County Detention Facility. Now, right up front, we're not here to discuss details of an ongoing investigation. We're not here to talk about or make allegations of wrongdoing. But what's going to happen now is Mr. Becton's mother and sister wanted to speak with the NAACP. And had we not been in a virtual environment, we'd probably be having a press conference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward them the opportunity for a few minutes. We're not trying to pass judgment on anyone, but they want to speak. And we've been working with the Becton family, the NAACP, and some other law enforcement agencies to try to find out what happened, right? It is November 23rd. And the mother and the daughter, no one knows still how he died. No one knows. So with that being said, Monique, I'll put you on spotlight here. You have the floor for a couple of minutes now, okay?
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Monique Ford, and I'll be speaking on behalf of my brother, our brother and son, Daryl Becton. On Tuesday, September the 29th, our brother Daryl Becton was incarcerated at the Arlington County Jail. Daryl died on Thursday, October 1st of 2020, while he was in the custody of Arlington County Jail. My family haven't yet got any answers or justice up to what happened to Daryl. My family would like to have some peace and closure to be able to move on with living without constantly thinking about what could or should not have had happened to Daryl, leading to his death. It still feels as if it's unreal or even a bad dream and just so unexpected. The family would like to get help to find out what happened to Daryl, or even being educated on what to do in this matter so that we will be able to help other families in this type of situation. Daryl was 46 years old when he passed away. Daryl's life mattered to us. Daryl was a son, a brother, the oldest and only male of his siblings, a father and a grandfather. Daryl was loved and meant a lot to us. Daryl was kind-hearted, a people's person who would help anyone. Daryl always gave me good advice, and he was the person I would go to talk to when things were on my mind. And I'm going to miss being able to call him to hear his voice and ask for help or advice. Daryl was a family man and was close to everyone. He enjoyed being around his family. Daryl always looked forward to family gatherings for the holidays or special occasions. Daryl was the jokester of the family, making everyone laugh, smile. He would always say family is everything. Daryl loved to take pictures, write, and being by water. Daryl was special to us. He was our protector. Daryl always stopped past your house to visit. He would call or send text to say that he loves you because he was thinking of us. The family is going to miss all the pop-up visit, phone calls, and texts. This was so unexpected to the family as we are still lost as of what has happened to Daryl. The family would like to thank the NAACP, Mr. Spain, for all their concerns, assisting us with trying to get answers and checking on our well-being. And we thank you all for allowing us to speak on behalf of my brother, Daryl Beckton. Thank you.
Monique, thank you.
Thank
I know
y'all.
that's difficult to talk about your brother, and I believe that's his mother, right? Hello, ma'am. How are you?
This is Miss Deborah Pugh, mom.
Yes, thank you. I know, especially this time of year during the holidays, it can be hard, and we will continue to do the best we can, helping you find closure in this case, even though there will never be closure in the life, right? We need to know, but we are working hard. We have confidence in that the system, our colleagues, our people in law enforcement here in Arlington are going to go about doing the right thing during this ongoing investigation. So we will continue to keep you in prayer.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you, and we'll continue to stay in contact, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. See, folks, it makes a difference. That man was 46 years old. 46-year-old Black man. A sister and a mother. I'm 48. And we'll find out. Item number 15. We have 5 minutes left. We're talking about the committees for the 2021-2022 administration. So in a few days, we will share with all members the list of committees that you can volunteer to be a part of with the NAACP. Again, whether that's the criminal justice, education, housing, economic development, labor and industry. A lot of those positions, committees in the branch here they're not filled because we just don't have the personnel, but we'll give everyone an opportunity to put their name forward to be members of those organizations, those committees, and or chair them. So that'll come out next meeting in December, which will be December 14th. The new administration will be sworn in at that time. We will also have an audit report. So Mr. Treasurer is on the line. The assistant, the secretary is on the line, Bill White, Roy Austin. I need one volunteer to from the general membership to work with them to audit our records for the past 12 months. Any volunteers? If so, just put your name in the chat. So the audit committee will be the treasurer, the assistant treasurer, excuse me, Ms. Kinsley, the secretary is mandatory. She has to be on there, and one other member. Any volunteers? No volunteers. Well, we will find one. Next meeting. Okay, next meeting, I did get an inbox. Who is this? Next meeting, we will have an audit put forth before we go into installation. All right, with 3 minutes left, we will have, what is this here? Executive committee meeting on November 29th. Is there anything else for the good of the order that anyone would like to bring forward in the meeting for the next 2 minutes? Anything? Oh, Elder Julio, okay, from the Serranos. Thank you, Elder, for showing up tonight. Really appreciate you. And we look forward to working together with you too. All right, did I miss any elected folks? James Younger has submitted his name for the audit committee. All right, thanks, James. Thanks. Detta, I was hoping you were going to throw your name in the hat. Election season's over, Detta. Hey, let's give Detta, y'all. We're past elections now. NAACP did a magnificent job, not only at the local level, but state level and nationally on our GOTV campaign. I think it was over 95,000. I mean, it was quite a, I don't want to mess up the number here, but we did a really good job getting out the vote. And we saw, some of the results in some of these battleground states. So with that being said, there doesn't seem to be any questions for me. All right, with that being said, the meeting is now closed. Thanks for everyone showing up. Happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Wear your mask. All right. Family gatherings, social distance, all that good stuff. All right. We want to see you back here next month and in 2021. All right. Love you guys. Take care.